going on, LDBC? This is your boy QuestX. I'm coming at you with another video. I want to really touch on a couple of topics. This is gonna probably be like a boxing topic video. Then I'm gonna talk a little bit about race. Then I'm gonna talk about what it is that I'm beginning to see this trend in the media as they are trying to sweep under the rug a lot of the lost brothers who are dying at the hands of police officers. But let me start off with that first then. As a young man, when I was much younger, watching the news was pretty much something that I watched my parents do. I never really paid attention to it. I knew what was existing out in the world based on what they were telling me. There were many times where some of the things that my mother would tell me, my mother is originally from Gary, Indiana, and some of the racial things that she experienced growing out there in the Midwest was, to say the least, as a young man, I thought they were bad. I attached the BAD word to it. Without ever quite really understanding until I had life experiences to understand how demeaning and disgusting they were. My mother was never one to mince words with me either. So you can imagine, I'm a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old kid, and your mom is telling you about some of the most horrific shit that she had ever seen. I think that's also what influenced her when she moved over here to the East Coast. Why she was so diligent when it came to making me understand how society sees me, and that no matter how much I climb the ladder of success, either intellectually or financially, I will forever be looked at as somebody who is lesser based on the color of my skin. And don't let anybody ever tell you otherwise. My mother was very, very adamant about that. So it was a really big focal point for her to show me what it is that I needed to do as a man. And even as a child, she wanted me to exemplify the best. And for that I will forever thank her. She is my mama. She will always be my mother. And to me, there is no other, man. I can't express any greater gratitude. But speaking of the media, when I would watch TV as a young man, and like I said, my parents were the ones who would translate a lot of things for me, my perception of what was wrong and how they portrayed us, I was very, very young, and I was very, very naive. And as I began to get older, I began to see the world because of the experiences that I was experiencing dealing with law enforcement, dealing with relationships, dealing with how a black man, especially a strong black man, is viewed. Even as now in my career, in business, I'm pretty sure a lot of brothers understand this. A strong, opinionated black man in the business world is viewed as a huge, huge threat. And every move we make has to be calculated. Every word we speak has to be dissected and analyzed by ourselves before we speak it, because they are looking for one slip up. And this is the thing that whereas the media is playing this game with us, this game of trying to depict black African American men as we are creating the circumstances as to why we're being killed by police officers, and that we need to be, and even on the same, and even the certain media outlets that aren't depicting that, such as like Fox News, the outlets that want to come across as liberals are trying to pity us. And for me as a black man, I don't want your pity. I don't want you to feel sorry for us. What I want you to do is to take a look at yourself and the system that you have prospered in and that my people have suffered in. And I want you to start changing that. Don't cry for us. We've been crying since we were brought here on slave ships. The crying has to stop. I don't want to be pacified. And I just want to touch on that. I'm not feeling this whole, these liberal news outlets trying to, we are all one. Because we're not all one. From the dawn of time, since man has encountered man, difference has always existed. So don't give me this "we're one" crap. That's the first thing I want to talk about. Then the next thing I wanted to talk about is a lot of the coonery that's going on right now with these celebrities right now, these black celebrities. The one person I gotta sit here and say is that, Michael Jordan, I'm not surprised. This harps back to what I was saying that as a young man growing up, my mother always instilled in me, or at least tried to instill in me, this awareness that, when I was a kid, that patented saying, be like Mike, man, I wanted to be like Mike. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I bought Jordans up until I was about 16. And I stopped buying Jordans when kids were getting killed for what was on their feet. And Michael never spoke up about it. He never spoke up about it. And I remember having this poignant conversation with my mom, because I was like, man, Jordans are really expensive. I mean, I got my little summer jobs and I would work and trying to keep up with whatever the latest series that came out or dropped. And my mother would just sit there and say, be careful who you give your money to. And I would always sit there and tell my mom, like, yo, Mom, but like, it's Michael Jordan. It's Michael Jordan. Now, he's like the man in the NBA. He is the man. And I idolized Michael because he looked like me. And he had such tremendous respect from his peers. But my mama, she would sit there and she would say, you idolize him, but does he show the gratitude back to his people, the people who buy those shoes? And, as a young kid, I got all this testosterone running in me at the time, and I'm just like brushing her off when she's trying to educate me and drop some gems on me. And, I look back on it as I began to get older and I began to watch the news and look at the coverage and just the shit I saw in my own town, It became appallingly apparent that Michael had distanced himself from us. And then I began, and that just further spurred me on to do my research further. And my mother used to always have this thing where, especially when it came to Black history, every summer, no matter what, she would have me do reports on Black history. And we would she made me read like the thick books, and they were like ridiculous. It really was. It was like, I used to fucking hate that shit. But I'm glad she did that, because now I understand. As a man, she would always sit there and tell me that they will never teach you in school your true history because they're ashamed of their history. And I didn't get it, obviously, as a young man, but as I got older, then going to college, and you could take all, those Black history courses all you want. But I'm going to tell you something right now. You take a Black history course at any other university other than a historically Black college, do you know who's teaching Black history? Not an African American. A majority of those universities, those classes are taught by European people. And my mother would always sit there and say, no, you're going to learn your history and you're going to do the research, because there are going to be things that they don't want to admit in books. And I never want you to, no matter how far you climb the ladder of success, lose yourself, because they will sit there and they'll open the door for you. That one Black man, And then they're gonna want but it comes at a price. And it comes at a price of your identity and your soul. And that's what we need to understand about these black celebrities who are sitting up here self-hating and talking about how they're not black, talking about how police deserve to beat my ass, talking about how, like, for instance, A$AP Rocky, one of the most disgusting individuals to be talking about black empowerment or any sort of black social issues at all. He is a walking contradiction to a heterosexual black man, because you run around in dresses, because you've been feminized by white society. You have absolutely no identity as a strong black man. You talk horrible about black women. Who the fuck are you to sit down there and start trying to educate young African-American college students? And first of all, whoever would give this fucker an invitation to even speak on black social issues needs to be removed. And trust me, I will not send my kid to that university. But this is what I'm saying. The media will always pump these guys out and put them and make them at the forefront, because they are trying to manipulate the young, impressionable black men and women to think the same way, because it is a fucking hustle. America is the land of hustling. And you know what they've done? The generation that's out there, Gates, Bow Wow, A$AP Rocky, the list goes on. They are the direct result of that pimp game that the American system has set in place since the dawn of time, since they brought us over here. They strip away all of what is our natural instinct to be leaders, and they instill instead this homosexual, effeminate lack of understanding that they come from such a strong, proud heritage, and that it's all about the almighty dollar instead of helping your community out. They steal from their own community. They're talking in every other rap video, I'm a shoot a nigga, and then at the end, when a black man is killed, they want to do silent protests and walk through the streets. You know what I'm talking about. Anybody who's been who follows hip hop, you know exactly who I'm talking to. It's a walking contradiction. So that's basically, I didn't went on a lot. You know, brothers in the LDBC, I love you very dearly. You guys putting out hella content. Shout out to all you guys, and even those that are not in the LDBC, those in the YTBC, man. You know, we all have to just come together. I got a fucking phone call coming in. Well, all right, brothers. Like I said, I'll try to drop some videos this weekend, but if I can't, I will definitely be checking you guys out. It's your boy Quest X. I'm out.